Well, good morning. Special guest joining us this morning, Senator Steve Daines. We're one day out from the election, Senator. Again, thank you for joining us this morning. Big question as you were addressing your following this morning about the change that potentially could be happening in the Senate. We're talking about the shift in power in there. You were addressing your group about that earlier. Talk to me about the significance of Steve Daines winning this and holding Republican power in the U.S. Senate.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why our airways have been filled with ads. There's so much money being spent in Montana because the future of the majority of the United States Senate runs right through the state of Montana. If Steve Bullock is elected to the United States Senate, Chuck Schumer's the majority leader, and there's no check on Nancy Pelosi's power. That's the bottom line. This has profound implications for taxes, for the Second Amendment, for the future of the Supreme Court. That's why this race in Montana is so important.
Now, I've got to know from here, one of the things that's going to be coming up here very soon in November, Supreme Court is going to be looking at the ACA. Something that's going to happen is if it goes away, do you have a plan, does the Senate have a plan in place to replace that?
Yeah, well, first, I don't think the Supreme Court probably will overturn it. If they did, the court would probably allow at least a year of time to sort that out. That's going to have to be a bipartisan coming together in Washington, D.C. to make sure that we protect those with pre-existing conditions as one of the highest priorities, as well as find ways to reduce the cost of health care. Remember, with Obamacare, health care premiums doubled, and over 20,000 Montanans lost their health care insurance. So we've got to solve these problems here, but bottom line is make sure that Montanans with pre-existing conditions are protected.
How do you do that? I mean, I guess give me an idea if you can, because if it goes away, we have nothing effectively in place at that point. Well, no, even though there's a time factor, as you mentioned.
The Supreme Court, if they did overrule, which I don't think they will, they would put probably at least a year of time frame to get that fixed. So it wouldn't happen immediately. But the bottom line is you've got to have a federal backstop working with the states to ensure those that have pre-existing conditions have 100% access to health care insurance without paying any additional premium.
You mentioned it here earlier, the amount of money that's been spent here. You mentioned the flyers, the TV ads and things like that. Some of that's coming from your campaign, some of that's coming from Bullock's campaign. A lot of it is coming from somewhere else. What are your feelings about that, Senator?
Well, I know Montanans can't wait until Wednesday when this election's over. But between now and 8 p.m. Tuesday, here's the most important message. Get out and vote. This race may come down to a few hundred votes. And so I'm just urging all Montanans to make sure they get those ballots turned in, where it's an all mail-in county. Get out, get the ballots turned in. It's such an important election, and Montana has a chance to express its voice to determine the future of this country.
One other thing that just happened here not too long ago, talking about the delisting of wolves, been a hot topic in Montana for a long time. Senator, your reaction to some of that?
Well, I think that was great news. Montana knows how to manage species like the wolves. We need to make sure that that's under the control of the state of Montana. Similarly with grizzly bears, we should celebrate their recovery and then delist them and move the management of grizzly bears back to the state of Montana, take them off the endangered species list.
Last question I'm going to ask you. You mentioned this past weekend, Libby to Sydney in the days before the election. What have you learned about Montana that you maybe didn't know before that?
Well, you know, I get to every one of Montana's 56 counties every 2 years. This is, the fifth time I've been around to every one of Montana's counties. And what you find out is they're passionate about this election. They're passionate about making sure that their Second Amendment rights are protected. We're seeing a record turnout. There's a reason for that. Montanans care deeply about this country, and they want to make sure that their voice is heard loud and clear in Washington, D.C.
Perfect. Again, thanks to Senator Steve Daines for joining us here this morning.